Keith thinks sound good?
Oh, that should be your review, like on Amazon. It's just,
Yeah.
Keith ain't good.
I think it should be noted that Miranda, I've never read any of your publications, but none of us are music critics.
No, we are not.
This is going to be our new intro, Keith.
Yeah.
We can do this every
We've
week.
done it in 2 tank talks.
But hello, my name is Keith, and this is Tank Talks.
And my name is Brandon.
And my name is Josh.
To clarify, none of that's true. I'm Keith.
My name is Brandon,
I'm Miranda.
but this is Tank Talks.
It is tank talks. That is a true portion.
This week, we are joined by our lovely friend, Miranda Throneburg.
Miranda Cosgrove.
And we
don't
are
know how we got
discussing-
her to come on the show.
And we are discussing... Shouldn't have cut you off.
Sorry, it's okay. It was a bad joke. Literally, the basis of that joke is, hey, someone else with the name Miranda is famous.
I was trying to save you from the
Yeah, it
joke,
wasn't a good
but
joke.
It did not pan out well.
It'll age well, though.
This week, though, we are here to discuss something that connects us all, and that is our love for House of Heroes.
Yes. We do like that band. It's a band, by the way.
Hello,
we
House
explain?
of Heroes, as you're watching this.
Should we explain?
They're watching it.
Not everybody's going to know. I guess people who clicked
You
on the
should.
video would probably know. But they are a band.
You should pause this, go listen to their whole discography, and then come back.
Yeah.
To explain, we'd call them probably an alternative band?
Mm-hmm.
So they fall into the category, huh?
Alternative rock.
They're an alt-rock band.
Alternative is just alternative. You have
Yeah,
to signify
what
them.
is alternative?
I usually mean alternative rock when I say alternative,
Sure.
but you can have like alternative pop or...
But some people would just say they're
Yeah.
alternative.
I
But
think-
what is that? What defines
I
alternative?
think it
Google
used
it.
to be pretty defined, but now everyone calls
It's
like
everyone's
rock. Like rock
alternative.
used to be you'd listen to, oh, that's a rock and roll song, but now you listen to it and you're like,
So,
that's,
yeah.
they're rock, but they're pop. Like Taylor Swift when she was country. When she switched over to pop, it's like she's already pop. She's
Yeah.
not country.
So yeah, alternative I think originally was just like, if you're not quite rock, if you're not quite something, you're alternative.
Yeah.
But anyway, they're an alternative rock band based out of Ohio. They were from Ohio or something. I mean, Miranda, you know this. I'm just
Yes.
saying what I know.
I guess before we go to do what we're here for today, we can go through and say how we first found them.
Sure.
My first experience with them was Amazon used to do these free EPs where you could download. Sometimes it's a song, sometimes it was 4. They had a House of Heroes one on there, and I clicked on it, and it had If, Lose Control, and In the Valley of the Dying Sun. And I started listening to it, and I was like, oh, this is...
For sure. All songs.
I've never heard music like this. And so I just started telling everyone I could, like, hey, you need to listen to this. This is going to change your life. And so through that, I just started listening to more and more of their stuff. And I love bands that there's more than just their music, like they're interesting people. So the more I started reading all these interviews, I'm like, oh, I agree the same. Or like, oh, these people are really cool. They're not just, we make music and that's the only thing we're good at.
Sure.
So that was my first foray into House of Heroes.
Okay, you go next.
When Brandon and I first became friends, have we ever done our origin story on camera?
That should be another Tank Talk. That'd
Yeah.
be a 5-part series.
Yeah, I'm not doing an origin story today. I've told it once today. But, in our origin story, Brandon becomes my friend, and I become his friend, and then he says, hey, you should listen to these bands, and he gives me CDs. And a lot of them I did not care for. But I did care for the House of Heroes CD, and then I ended up, buying all their stuff, which happens with music. But yeah, I really like them. It should be said that seemingly inactive right now. I wonder if this video is not motivated in an effort to try to, stoke the fire underneath them.
Timothy, if you're watching this, you said that you're coming out with an EP, so we're holding you to it.
We tapped your phone lines.
Yeah, Miranda did.
It's
She's
fine.
tapped your phone.
Anyway, so I am a young buck in this fan base of House of Heroes. So I met him like 2.5 or 3 years ago, and I was wearing a Reliant K shirt, and then we bonded because he was talking about Relient K, and I was like, I'm wearing this shirt. And then we were like, hey, maybe we have the same music taste. So we traded phones, and I downloaded like 5 albums on his Spotify, and he downloaded probably like more than 5 albums on my Spotify. And I was going through all of them, and I was listening to The End Is Not the End. And I was like, oh, I dig this, because that was one of the albums that he downloaded. And I was like, I dig this. And then it got to In the Valley of the Dying Sun, and I was like, this is the best band I've ever heard in my life. And I think, actually, when I first heard it, I was like, this sounds a lot like Muse. And the reason why I liked them after is because I really like Muse. The reason why I liked them after that is because I listened to another album, and I was like, surely this is not the same people. And I love, like, artists that have very versatile styles, but you can still, like, notice them. So... Anyway, and then I fell down the rabbit hole. And I went to their 10-year anniversary concert in Columbus, Ohio. It was amazing. Hey, Tim.
Solid
best
status.
friend. And
Solid,
Stephanie.
yeah.
Stephanie's my girl.
So today, what
Are y'all
we're
friends?
doing
Y'all friends now?
Yes.
is, I guess it should be said that Keith and I did open for Copper Lily.
Yeah,
so.
no, they're
yeah.
way better friends than me. But
So today, what we're doing is we are going through each of their albums, and we're going to give our opinions on them. At the end, we are going to share our pick for, I guess you could either call it best album, favorite album, maybe it's the same or whatever.
I am interested real quick in the motivation for this video. Because, of course, like we said, they're fairly an inactive, group, considering, it wasn't a 10-year reunion. It was, a celebration of them being around, right? It wasn't like we're getting back together after 10 years or whatever. So Brandon, tell me, you've come to us with this guest video idea. What's your motivation? Why do you want me to talk about this?
I think each week, me and Miranda at least have one conversation about, man, maybe if we do this, House Fears would get back together.
So it really is like, this is us kneeling at the altar.
I think
really
it's
is.
that, and I think that honestly, it's just, I think that there's bands you listen to and you really care for. Like, there's a lot of bands I like, but there's very few that I'm like, I feel like this has impacted me. And I think House of Heroes is a band that has impacted all three of us. But I think most people that listen to their music, if they're a House of Heroes fan, they really feel a connection versus other bands that you might love them, but I think very few people are like, oh, this artist has made an impact on me. It's more of, oh, they're just cool, and they look beautiful.
It no doubt shaped the landscape of my musical taste there for a little while, no doubt.
So yeah, we're going to start with What You Want Is Now. Keith may be putting photos of these albums up here.
I will do it.
And so
right
What You Want Is Now
That's right in front of Miranda's head.
was their pre-label debut. Miranda's here to help fact check all the information. She's memorized their Wikipedia page. So it was their pre-label debut. To me, I think like the music was there, but the lyrics were not there yet, like on there. Or yeah, I haven't listened to it I listened to it for about a week, and that was it. So I don't really care for it that much. I feel like they're still trying to figure out who they are. What say you, Miranda?
I relate albums usually to like the time in my life that I listened to them, and obviously like I listened to it when I first like got into them, and then the summer after that I listened to it a lot. But 2 Christmases ago I drove to Colorado with my dad, and I listened to the entire House of Heroes discography, and I don't know why, but like What You Want Is Now is just like really pops out to me. And then when I was driving back from Columbus to like after the concert that I went to, I listened to that, and so it just kind of reminds me of like mountain roads and stuff like that. And like it doesn't at all connect with that, but I don't know, it just like every time I listen to it I think of like being cold in my car while my dad is asleep next to me and I'm driving from an amazing concert from them. So that's what I think of. But I also think that like there's like a lot of instrumentation in there that I really like, that is kind of sloppy, that kind of reminds me of I don't know what it reminds me of, but like it's not bad sloppy, but like it's less cohesive as everything else.
Don't be afraid to offend.
And I dig it. Well, I love them. I don't want to hurt them.
Hey.
I will offend later on another album.
Okay, I have not listened to this album. I treated this whenever I figured out that I liked them, and like when I first started streaming a couple weeks ago video games, like my first stream said the title was Test, just seeing if everything works. That's how I see this album, kind of, you know? I don't know I'm sure that's not their mindset, but me looking at them is like, well, I don't need to watch that because they got it right in the next song. You know, I'm not, I thought it's a bad way to say it, but that's just kind of how I look at it. Is like it's I kind of almost see it as not canon, but I'm sure it is.
Well, my favorite thing about it is I have a friend named Julia, and so I just sing her name every time I see her.
The next one was Say No More. That was after they were signed to Mono versus Stereo, Goatee Records' sister label. My opinions on this was actually, I listened to their stuff, and Keith told me about this album, and I started listening to it, and I feel like there's a lot of just like angst to it. It's a lot of just like being super honest, and I also just like the like really, I guess it's probably their most like, it's got the heaviest like punk vibe out of all their stuff.
Sure.
And I really love it just because the music's great, the lyrics are super great, and I feel like usually your first album, because I'm contradicting myself with What You Want Us Now, but like usually your first album, a lot of times you're the most honest because you haven't got a following, so it's really just people saying, we'll take a like chance on you, versus, oh, you gotta say this so that you can bring in more money. So I'm a huge fan of their Say No More album.
Very glad.
Do you want me to go next?
Sure.
Okay.
We're in a line.
That was probably the second album that I listened to after The End Is Not the End. And I dug it. It was very like, I mean, I think it was very different from The End Is Not the End, but now when I listen back to it, I'm just like, oh, that's just Tim singing. But I really like it, like when I'm feeling like in a more cohesive hardcore mood, I listen to that, but when I'm in a less cohesive mood, I listen to What You Want Is Now. But I dig it, and I think that, like, I love Serial Sleepers, and there was like a time in my life where I was like, this is so profound. And I just listened to it over and over, and I saw Angels in Top Hats live, which was amazing. But that's besides the point.
That is a good song. I used to like that one a lot. I thought I liked that. I thought that was like an odd one.
Mm-hmm.
It was an interesting one to end it.
Yeah. I like that one a lot. Yeah, I would listen to them a lot, and then I downloaded that album, and I enjoyed it. I don't think I listen to music like you guys do. Like I don't really, categorize. No, that's not. I'm not trying to say I don't care, but I probably did more then. But now I don't really have the time to really sit down to an album and like really, fork and knife it. I kind of just whatever I can pick up, I just grab and I take it. But I really enjoyed it. Thematically, I don't think I would identify with it very much anymore. Like I don't think I would listen to it and be like, because when I was a teenager, I'm like, like I don't know. I feel like I remember feeling that way, but now I just don't know if I would identify with it as much as I once did. But it's Keith thinks sound good.
Oh, that should be your review, like on Amazon. It's just Keith ain't good.
I think it should be noted that Miranda, I've never read any of your publications, but none of us are music critics.
No, we are not.
The next one on the list is The End Is Not the End.
Keith should start this one.
Huh?
Keith should start this
I can start this one.
Okay.
This is by far my favorite. Without a doubt. Yeah, it's good.
Spoiler for the end.
I think, sorry. I forgot about that.
This may be.
Well, if you make it to the end, good gravy. We're, 15 minutes in, 12 minutes in or something. This is a good album. I like the kind of weird war-themed, not weird, but like this kind of war-themed album. Mm-hmm. I still to this day don't know how much sense it makes that it's war-themed or themed the way it is. Yeah. But it sounds really good. There's a lot of profound lyrics in there. There's a lot of. I remember we had to write down we had to journal lyrics of songs in my senior English class one time, and I put one of those in there. Mm-hmm. Also did Modern Times by the Black Keys. So shout out to old Black Keys. Don't need you now. You were good back in the day. Anyway, I really like it. I still to this day don't think I get it, but I like it.
Okay, so I really like theater, and so I really, really like concept albums, and like House of Heroes just like heightened that so much when I got into them. Is this one a
cohesive story?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, I try to think through it. I think that like if it's obvious, then it's not that good. But if it's too confusing, then it's not really a concept album.
Okay, gotcha.
So I think there can be like Spoiler, wait, I mean, I don't know if we're allowed to say this, but we're trying to write a musical about one of the albums.
They'll steal our idea if we tell them.
I know. Well,
Spoilers, what you want is now. Take that.
I already told Tim, so he could have taken it. But anyway, so I flew to Colorado, actually right before I drove back from Colorado 2 Christmases ago, and I listened to it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have all these ideas for a musical. So I have like, I don't know, it would be just such an amazing musical, and I can like picture it so vividly. Mm-hmm. But also, I mean, like, it's one of my favorites because it was my first House of Heroes album. And I think that, like, I love albums when you like listen to them and you don't really know, like, you just forget the songs that are in there are good. And when there's really good songs, like at the beginning and the end, like Voices and Field of Daggers are like one of the best songs, and that they're at the very end, and I love that because you have like something to look forward to. Also, there's a song about being in love with a communist, and it's my favorite. If that doesn't lead you to like House of Heroes,
that song is why I say I don't get it. You know?
See, I think it's
there's like a lot of stories.
Yeah, I think you've got about probably like
that's how
7 or 8 different stories going
on. Sure, yeah,
on.
I'm sure. And I'm not saying I don't get it as in like, why would they do that? What I mean when I say I don't get it is like, I don't get how these young men had those stories to tell.
Well, yeah, I don't know how they just accidentally wrote a World War II concept album.
Right.
See, that's what I loved about it is I just remember telling people that anyone can sit down, like any 3 of us could sit down and I could say, or write a story about like a relation, like a girl or a guy you want to like date, and you could like write that.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, think about being sad. You could write that. But if I sat down and said, all right, write me a song about being in love with a communist, you're gonna be like, I don't know how.
Well, my first question is why. You know? Here in the 2000s, that's my first question. But it's good. That's all. I don't want to sound like a hater. I love them to death.
Also, I saw this whole album live, but it's fine.
The next one is Suburba.
Wait, you didn't even talk about it.
I did talk about it. I said I really liked it.
Brandon is conscious of how long this video is becoming, and we have got to speed things up, sadly.
We're going to do one word association. Suburba. Road. Suburba, though, it's the first one that I owned entirely, because Amazon used to run a lot of great deals. But it was like $1.99. Yeah. So I bought the whole album, and I just loved it because it's not as difficult to write those songs as it is with a like with the end is not the end. But I like the idea that it's just an accidental concept album where it's just all these people that live like in the suburban area, and you see people that had these dreams and they didn't pursue anything. You have other people that live there and they're just so happy to be living and having a simple life. And I think it's really cool that you can take such simple things with like suburban life and make me care, whereas I know people that are living these lives right now, and I don't sit there and look at my neighbor and like start crying thinking, oh, he's living something beautiful, or like he's living this disaster. I just think, oh, he just went and spent this money on a car, or oh, like you just don't think
it's art.
That makes me think that Ghost would be really good in Suburba. Mm-hmm. Anyway, is it my turn?
Yeah.
I really like Suburba. It's like one of my favorites. I have a signed copy of the vinyl and a regular vinyl, and I enjoyed it a lot. And I think, I don't know why, but like I was watching the TV show Riverdale when I first started listening to it, so I was just really into like suburban teenage drama, and that's what this reminded me of.
Y'all. Isn't that the greatest?
Keith, what's your take on Suburba?
I liked it. I enjoyed it. God Save the Foolish Kings, very good song that I enjoyed a whole lot. I'm very glad. I'm jealous. I like that one a lot. I like the songs. Like I said, I don't want to betray myself because I would consider myself a fairly prolific thinker. Uh-huh. But I just, I never dove real deep into these, so I don't have that's a very astute, thought you had there. But I have to say, Keith likes sound.
I think
Keith likes sound. It sounds
I
good.
just dive really deep into literally anything.
Yeah. I think
so it's not.
Though the cool thing about it is though that it just shows you the scope that like me and Miranda love just pouring over and taking hours to say what does this line mean in this song. But then for you two as a casual, you're not sitting there thinking. But like for you as someone who doesn't, as compared to us,
of course,
that doesn't dive into it, you don't have to sit there and like
you can
spend
still
hours.
it,
like you can still love it and get the idea of oh, this is about love.
That's one
this is
thing
about
that
betrayal or whatever.
frustrates me about music is whenever people make obtuse things
Yeah.
that I have to like. Do not come to me with music that I have to work for just to enjoy. You know?
Yeah.
Like, let me enjoy it, and if I want to dig, let me dig.
Yeah.
But y'all keep that other stuff. And you got House of Heroes didn't do that.
Next one
Yes.
is Cold Hard Want. I think it was weird that it was like a departure from the like accidental ones. So it felt like, oh, this feels more like a normal CD where just like people just write songs, which I guess they kind of was about want still at the same time.
Bummer.
But I think it was pretty cool. I really enjoyed having the intro. I love ones that have an intro and you have like the music, but you also have something profound you're saying. So you're not wasting space, and that's something we were talking about. And then so I really like their little interludes, but it means a lot building into the next song instead of just here's a guitar going so we can add a couple of minutes to the album.
Sure.
Miranda, your take?
This is the only album that I have a song that I don't like on it. And I feel bad. I feel
What's the
bad
song?
because it's Dance, Blow It All Away. I don't know why. Like, I mean, I can jam to it, but I don't know. But I don't know. I feel like I kind of associate it with Collapsible Lung by Relient K, and I hate Collapsible Lung. And it makes me feel bad because I like Cold Hard Want. But also, every time I listen to it, I think of, I had a broken record player, and every time I would play that record, it would sound really weird. So every time I think of it, I think of it sounding weird.
Like a broken record. Interesting. That gives me an idea that you can also tell that we're not, music critic people, and we're also not people who've made music because we're saying the word album. And anytime anyone who's played music on a stage, they call it a record.
Yeah.
Why? Why are we different? Why are we different in that?
Because they get paid. I don't know.
Well, I get, we worked really hard on this record. Like, why is my only word album? And why is your only word record? As an artist. Where does that come from? I don't get
We're
it.
like record deals.
Of course, but I mean...
They have contracts and stuff. It's subliminal.
Either's maybe you're probably right, but isn't that odd that there's this wall that it's not the stage that separates us, it's this vocabulary. That's the only way they're different from us, but they're better than us. That's what I'm sorry.
But not.
Cold Hard Want's good. I like a lot, and I agree. I don't really care for that song, but also it's because I've never identified with anyone who says like, "Oh, you feel bad? Just dance." I don't feel that way. I never feel that way. I've never danced anything away,
And finally, Colors. Colors was the first true concept album they did. It's after they left Goatee Records. What I liked about this album, or I like and don't like, is that I don't like that it's a full concept album because I feel like it limits to where now you got to stick to the story. So you can't just jump in and say, let's throw a communist in here. You've got to stick with, here's our main group of characters. But it's also the one album that if I listen to one song on there, I go, now I gotta listen. Then I have to listen to the whole album because I can get the build up to, now I care about this romance. Or now it really hits me that this, person has been shot or whatever. So I think that's what I like and don't like is that when you fully go into concept album and try to tell just a cohesive story, it limits you to those characters, but also I feel like you care more about the characters.
Yeah, I feel that as an avid soundtrack or musical listener. But so I like Colors a lot, and it made me sad because I started listening to them after they did Colors, and so then I was like, well, that was their last album, and now I'm sad. But I think, we talked about this before, I feel like they should have used different voices for different characters to make it more cohesive. I mean, I love Tim Skipper's voice, but even, I don't know, I feel like it would have hit home better.
Could have gotten
because
Colin and Stephanie.
Yeah, for real. And I know there is a girl in it, but I don't know, I feel like it would have, because you don't even know who's talking some of the time.
Yeah.
And then they filmed the tiny little videos of each of the songs, but then they didn't do more. And I was like, you could have just done a music video for every one of them, and then it would have been a musical. It would have been amazing. But I like it nonetheless. And the song that has In the End, that's one of my favorite songs ever. So good job, House of Heroes.
Your take?
This is my least favorite. Didn't care for it so much. I just don't I don't think albums like this are necessarily a medium, or if maybe they are a medium for powerful stories, but I just don't. I've listened to it several times, and I think, if maybe the success of, I don't know what decided that they weren't going to make more stuff.
Yeah.
But I just feel like you could have done more. And again, I'm not putting that on an artist. I'm not putting that on you if you're watching this, Tim Skipper, whoever is watching this. I'm just
Stephanie, my best friend.
I'm just saying, I just wasn't affected by the story. An album like this is not one where I'm like, I can't wait to see what happens in the next song. It's not like the next episode or whatever. And again, that I've displayed that I'm not exactly a music critic, so take my opinion with a grain of salt. But I think it's hard for people to jump into an album like that. Like, what are they singing about? And do I have to, like, as a person, you can't put a song on the radio. I mean, maybe that's not what you want, of course. But it's hard to just jump into an album like that.
Well, I heard that there was, like, some mess up with the Kickstarter or whatever that they did, or that it, like, didn't go as planned. So that might have been part of it, like the production.
Mm-hmm.
There's some good songs on there. There are definitely some songs I like. I just, when it comes, if I'm gonna,
is so good to run to. Fun fact.
You're right, it is. It's on the playlist. But if I'm gonna judge it by what it is, I don't know if it's a great iteration of what it's supposed to be.
I think before we reveal our favorite ones, I think to sum it up, House of Heroes is like, even I feel like the worst album of theirs.
It's better than so many.
You still really enjoy it, you know, because I feel like it's just like with Colors, you can still think, well, it's still cool that you can tell a story. Or, with me, What You Want Is Now, it's still cool that, it's easy just to be like a rock band, but for you to be like, this is our first album, and to do all these little music things in there, it's cool. I'd have to say, though, it's the ones that stands out is The End Is Not the End. I think Say No More might be a little close, but The End Is Not the End is just, for you to make a story about people in like World War II and like not make it hokey, it's just amazing that I can listen to this and be like, this is amazing music, and it's about people. Like if you were singing about other topics, easy topics, what you could do with it, and I think that it's just.
I think also like the best version, or like the best things of House of Heroes, like their vocals are amazing because they always do the 4-part harmonies, and the concept stories, like it's not too concept, but it's also like it rides on that well, and like it's a good length, and so it's just like everything together in one.
What's your favorite album?
My favorite is Suburba, because I just feel a connection to it, but like probably close second is The End Is Not the End.
Yeah, I agree. Take the rest of them away, and I mean, not you can take them away. I don't want them, but it's more of like that. If I could only keep one, it'd be that one. I feel like
which one?
The End Is Not the End. Yeah, sorry. I don't want y'all to feel like I'm trying to be a hater over here.
No.
I don't want to be a hater.
I feel like you have to balance us out. That way people watch this video and just
blindly.
hear me and Miranda just trying to like.
I'm not.
Well, I mean, I don't
House
really
of Heroes.
like Cold Hard One that much, so.
Of course.
There's that.
Yeah.
There's the evening too.
I don't want to be a hater, but I think I come at it like, again, y'all as super fans, and me as just maybe more of a casual listener.
I think you're more of a Copper Lily fan too, because it's more
like
folky
Copper Lily
than House of Heroes.
I do, and my current taste in music is I don't want electricity involved. To keep the electricity. Give me strings. Give me unamped.
Well, Keith, I'll give you some strings and I'll give you some tank drink.
All right, let's do it.
You're getting better at these openings.
No.
Yeah, was that
It wasn't as
Miranda,
good.
we're very happy to have had you for this discussion, but I should have known that to get you both on camera to talk about this subject, it would be like, we're at like a half an hour.
That's what people care about.
This is why me and Brendan are wanting to do a podcast and not just videos.
I remember what I wanted to say when I said I don't want to be a hater. What I was trying to say is that I'm not trying to be a hater, but I do want to be honest.
Yeah.
Because their music is their art, and this is our art.
Art is subjective.
And I want to be, genuine in our art. That looks gross.
This week's
It smells
tank
like
drink
a Jolly Rancher.
Good.
is Monster Energy Ultra Paradise.
Brandon, I was about to say, if this tastes like cucumber, I will come across Miranda and punch your mouth. Because I hated that Gatorade.
Wait, clink.
Oh, that was a
clank
horrible
it?
Gatorade.
And drank it. Ooh.
I think I was expecting it to be alcohol.
So we just drank the tank drink. You experienced a cut because this video was 30 minutes long. So obviously the only people still here would be people who made the music, right?
Tim is still here. Colin's
Yeah.
still here.
Yeah.
They're on the way
Yeah.
to Charleston. as we speak.
Yeah.
Stephanie!
They're ready to fight. I didn't intend that, but yeah, it's got to be. There's only people there.
And this is why I will never be on Tank Talks again.
No, it's not a problem. I like to give a commentary because I know somebody else is thinking it, right?
See, Miranda will be great when we bring back Taint Media Podcast.
Of course.
Which can happen if people head over to
Yeah.
patreon.com/taintmedia.
If you're out there and you really like this long form discussion, you can get way more of that if you do go to patreon.com. This is my desk. If you go to patreon.com/taintmedia network, donate. If we get to our $250 goal, we are not there yet. But if we get to $250 on there, we'll bring back Tank Media Podcast.
What? And then I'll be on there.
Yeah.
For all my fans out there.
Yeah, for all Miranda's fans.
You could request Miranda. Miranda, if you could raise $250, you might even get a Miranda show.
I'll just give you $250.
That's right. Well, it is a month. $250 a month.
I can do that.
But you can donate for as little as $1 per month if you want to.
I'm going to do that right now.
Thanks, Miranda. Thank you for being on the show. Brandon, do you have anything else?
Nah.
All right, Tim, Skipper, and all the other members of House of Heroes, because you're the only ones left
Also,
watching.
Stephanie.
And Stephanie Skipper.
I love you.
I follow her on Instagram. I see her outfit of the day.
Colin,
Yes.
Jared.
I don't read those because
Jared,
I don't.
not Jared.
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 Yeah, I don't.
Jared, Eric,
Yeah, show loved all of them.
Yeah, I don't know the rest of their names.
and AJ.
AJ as well.
Don't forget AJ.
Yeah. Don't miss out on Stephanie Skipper's outfit of the day.
Yeah.
I don't know what any of that means. Yeah, that's the content I get from them nowadays, right? Heyo.
And her blog, she just posted on her blog.
That's true. All right, I keep talking even though I talk about how long this is. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Please remember to do all those things. Check us out on Patreon if you want to get rewards. And remember that we love you very much.